Being a Christian woman and walking in God's calling for our lives can be a difficult task. With the world and pop culture telling us to be one way, and the Bible saying another, you kind of end up feeling like an other. Well, you're not alone. Join me now and my friends as we navigate life in our 20s and 30s, while making sure we live out our faith, embrace our femininity, and looking cute. We discuss pop culture, life, careers, relationships, and so much more. Prepare to be entertained and educated. I know you're going to love it. Join our movement and embrace being another girl. The views expressed on this podcast are our own and do not reflect our employers. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. You are listening to Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. I'm Mallory.
And I'm Isabel.
And we are changing culture and bringing back traditional values. Hello, ladies. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Those Are the Girls. We're doing a quick TCAP. This will be a quick episode, and the topics are quick as well. So don't you worry. This will be a good if you are on your way driving somewhere for Thanksgiving, but we'll also have a Thanksgiving episode too. Don't you worry about that. First thing, if you've never listened to this podcast before, it is a podcast where we talk about pop culture, career, relationships, all those type of topics from the Christian conservative perspective. Hopefully you'll learn something. Hopefully you'll laugh. I know you'll laugh, but hopefully you'll also learn something. I'm trying to think of anything else to introduce. No. Isabel, how has your week been? Anything exciting happened?
Yeah, it's been a week. I feel like with the daylight savings, I'm still trying to get used to it. But girl, I'm like,
Golden
how's the
hours
sun
with them.
setting? And I'm still at work.
Right.
But for my job, I do a lot of outside sales, so it's like networking, going to events. So it doesn't seem like work, but it is work, so it can get a little tiring. But I mean, we've been just I don't know what it is, but this season has been a lot of fashion shows, I guess the holiday season. So it's been fun going to those and just looking at all the like beautiful stuff and like all the dresses and we get to go to like these really nice buildings, like skyscrapers. So we get to also get a tour of the building. So I was doing, I did that this past week, and then just hanging out with family. My sister's hosting a Friendsgiving today, so just busy, busy, busy. But I'm blessed. That's for sure. What about you?
Amen. This is a season of blessings.
Mm-hmm.
So anything happened exciting this past week? Not really. I had my Friendsgiving. Well, I have two Friendsgivings. I had a Friendsgiving last weekend, and then I go to a Friendsgiving this
You're like,
weekend.
period.
Popular. No, I'm just joking. It's not even that I'm popular. It's just I'm one of those people that I can kind of be friends with anyone. So like I end up with a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it does sound like, wow, she's so popular. Everybody likes her. It's not even that. It's just like, I'm nice to everyone and like, I can get
No.
along with pretty much everyone. So it kind of just like,
You're a good
falls
friend
out
to
like
have, Mallory.
this. Oh,
You
thank
really
you so
are.
much.
You're so easy to talk to, and I think that's why we also like connected. You're my
Well,
sister.
thank you. You're a good friend
So
to
funny.
talk to too.
Oh yeah, no, and honestly, I will say that you made my day. I think this week you were like, because we were talking about your birthday, and you were like, I really wish you would come, and I was like, oh, like I'll be there in spirit. And like it makes me feel happy that I'm like, oh, my friends, like I love them, they love me. I'm like, I'm just a girl. And then I'm
Yeah.
also PMSing. So, and then my other friend, it was funny,
Oh.
you texted me that you're like obviously in North Carolina, and then my friend in Louisiana, she's like in Metairie, which is opposite right outside of NOLA. Anyways, she texted me. She goes, "Oh, I'm having a Friendsgiving tonight. I'm thinking of you." I was like, "I wish you could be
Oh.
here." And I was like, "Gorgeous, gorgeous girls, we stick together." I'm like, what? And then I'm like, why do my one good friends have to live outside of Texas? But I do think that it makes that friendship like stronger because I think you're so like that your time is so limited, so you're just so
Mm-hmm.
intentional with it. And sadly, I feel like when you have friends that are in town, sometimes it's not that really. I think it goes like it kind of goes off like not missing, but you just kind of don't. I don't know. You take it for granted, I feel like,
Yeah.
because you're just like, oh, they're right there. Like you can always see them. So,
Yeah.
anyways, side
No,
thought.
that's such a good point. Just to talk about that for 2 seconds, a lot of my really good friends, probably my closest friends, and I think you made a
Yeah.
good point about like, your time is so limited. The people who I spend, hour, 2
Yeah.
hours, 3 hours on the phone with are people who don't live in my town. And I think because of that, we're able to get closer and
Yeah.
develop a deeper relationship. Not saying that my friends that I have here, we're not close, we don't have a deeper relationship, but it's just like a different type of dynamic because you're right. Like, I also have to go pick up something from my friend's house. It's 10 minutes
Yeah.
away. Hop in the car, grab it. Hey girl, kiss, I'll see you later. Like literally I'm probably gonna see her,
Yeah.
tomorrow. Like it's not as like like if it was another friend that lives out of town, if I was going all the way over there, okay, I have to pick this thing up. Let's talk for 6 hours. You just kind of like different dynamics
Yeah.
with that. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love you. I really wish you could come. You would absolutely love it. Like the plan, it
I know.
like
I saw
it's just
that on
gonna
your
be so cute. I feel like you
Instagram.
would love
So
it.
cute and pink. And girl, I already have like three
Yeah.
outfits ready to go. Because
Yeah.
I wanted to incorporate that for my birthday. Because well, mine's Valentine's. So, but anyways, it was like me and you, we love pink. So I'm
Yes.
like, that is such a cute moment to be like. Your theme is like perfect for you, and I'm like, I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited. I'm like, gorgeous, gorgeous girls.
Yes. Yes.
I really do
So
have to come visit you next year, God willing. I'm gonna.
yeah.
This year was a lot of just like building myself back up from like switching jobs, careers, and stuff. So I think next year, God willing, we'll see what he has in store. But I'm planning to take like trips. Like, where are we going? Because I'm gonna say
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, same
So
actually. I just this year was just a very interesting. Well, anyway, we'll do an episode on this
I know, right? We're
about
like,
our
and
years.
then in
Yeah. Now we're getting like
1992.
really, yeah, we're getting really retrospective and like, no, that's not what this episode's about. But yeah, yeah.
I
Okay.
know. It's the
Well,
time of the month.
anything else you want to add before we get into the stories?
No, just the fact that like I'm enjoying this cup of coffee that I made
I was
from
about to
home.
say
Like
that's
this
so
is
cute.
I'm just living my best life right now. And especially when I go like 2 days without coffee, they just taste better. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
do a little bit of changing it up. But it's just like hazelnut and like cold brew. It's amazing. And I feel even better that I know I'm saving money. So I'm okay.
Yeah, and I like the whole look, the whole fall vibe, from your hair to your nails to your dress. I mean, you look great.
Oh yeah, I love you. I did not pay her to say that. I'm just kidding. I really
Well,
needed
no, you
that.
really didn't though.
So funny. And I don't know why I've
How
been
old are your
waking up
ears?
with like poofier lips, and I'm like, okay, I'm living for this. I could have like a
Okay.
disease, and I'm like, I love this.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Sorry.
don't know. I mean, embrace it, I guess, but eventually, like, look into it. Um,
Like I think I'm like dehydrated. I don't know, whatever. But like I love this. We're just
that's,
talking about, anyways. No, never mind.
that's such like a girl thing. Like, yeah, never mind. I'm thinking.
Like you don't care. You'll think of you'll whatever it is to get the look. I'm just kidding. This is so
Yeah.
bad. Don't listen to
Well,
us.
no,
We're
I
just
was
joking.
I was thinking about how. No, you're right. You're right. I shouldn't say this.
Say
Okay.
it. Say
Should
it.
I say it? Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking about how like when you get sick, sometimes you
I-
like lose a couple and like you're
no.
sad about it, but then it's
Yeah.
like, well, I do look
You're like,
funnier.
no, you remind me. It's like a win is a win.
Yeah,
They're like, whenever he breaks up with you, but you just lost 10 pounds, they're like, a win is a win.
right. A win is a win. A win is a
That's me. You're like, oh, I'm
win.
crying, so my face looks poofy, my lips look bigger. I'm like, a win
Yeah.
is a win.
Yeah, like, oh, okay. I do look. I look a little better. You're like,
Oh my
anyway, like
god,
this is all jokes. Everyone, don't go to the doctor and
run
all
with
that
it.
stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. All right.
Anyway, let's get into the stories.
Yes, yes.
I want to cover this first one, not a laughing matter, but I want to cover it because it has been a story that's been on the news a lot,
The trending, yes.
and I think that it's just kind of important for us, and I want to honor this person. I've been seeing a lot of people um
Yeah,
talking about honoring her, so I want to do that. So it's really about the Laken Reilly case. Thankfully, the suspect was found guilty, and he was sentenced by a judge to life in prison without. This is from ABC News. He was sentenced by the judge to life in prison without the possibility of parole, which is the max possible. So we are very, 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 very happy um, about that. And I guess normally with these type of stories, what I like to do is like kind of talk about what happened. So as we know, she was attacked by an illegal immigrant who came here and she fought him for 17 minutes. And like normally you I want to share that story and then we go never victim blaming. It's never the victim's fault. It's always the perpetrator's fault. But I always like to be, okay, what can the life this person lived, what can we take from it? Like, what are some things that we can
Hmm.
do to improve our lives, type of thing. But what's hard about this situation is like she did everything right. She
Yeah.
told her friends, she shared her location.
It was a
Everything
broad
was,
daylight.
it was broad daylight. So
Yeah.
everything was done perfectly right. So it feels as if there's not really like a lesson here other than like, you know,
Like
a,
honoring her life and
honoring her
remembering her.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh, go ahead.
No, and I think oftentimes a lot of these cases, it's like they put the focus on the perpetrator, which is like obviously, justice was served, but it's almost like, we should be putting our attention and making, like in Riley's name known and honoring her and her life, right? Because she is more than what happened to her. So I think in those cases, sometimes like the media likes to run with like focusing so much on who did the crime versus the victim and
Mm-hmm.
honoring their lives. So I think I just
Yeah.
wanted to kind of reiterate. So it's good that you have a platform where we could talk about this and we can just have that perspective of like, hey, we're not even gonna give this man any
Yeah. Not even
more
saying
like
his name.
recognition that he deserves or that he
No.
doesn't deserve, but for the victim and honoring her life. And I seen on TikTok, 'cause I get my news mostly on TikTok, and it was like so beautiful the way the girls were like college girls were honoring her and like this run is for you, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm crying, like I'm crying at
Yeah.
like 9 a.m. because it's so beautiful that despite everything the girls could all come together and honor her life, and I think that's just like really beautiful from such a tragic and horrific event. So
Yeah.
prayers go out to her family for sure.
And I think it's also beautiful seeing women come together.
Hmm.
Like I've never seen anything like this before. Like on both sides,
Yeah.
because everything's so divided now. Everybody is like, this was senseless. This was. I have friends who are leftists who, well,
Yeah.
they're more liberal. You guys know what I mean. I have friends
Yeah.
left of center who were even like, this was senseless. Like too many people are coming over the border. Like this was such a awful thing.
Yeah.
Like she was so innocent. There was literally nothing. Like how awful and terrible. And like every woman, I
Yeah.
from what I've seen, every woman has like stood and like said this is just such an awful thing. And you're right, like the girls doing the 17-minute
And
run for
yeah,
her. I'm like watching
I
them like tearing up and like
I know,
yeah.
and honestly, Mallory, I was also thinking like, gosh, like it kind of puts things into perspective because you're like, I'm a girl. Like I was literally telling my boyfriend, I was like, I go to pump my gas all the time. I leave like for work, right? I go to events a lot, and I have to go to parking garages, and I'm alone, and it's dark, and I'm just kind of like, oh my goodness, like you said, she did everything right. It's not like she went out looking for it. It's not like it was dark. It's not like it was, whatever. It's just so sad because like it could have been you. It could have been your sister, your friend, your mom. Like you just start thinking like how first of all how precious life is no matter who you are, but then it's also like as a woman, there is these things that we unfortunately have to really like look out for each other, look out for ourselves. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, because it's like unless you don't do anything, you stay at home 24/7, like what else can you do? You just have to go out and live your life and just pray and hope for the best and take care of the situation, however you can. So, but it is unfortunate. You start thinking like, oh my gosh, it hits closer because you're like, it could have been me, or my
I
sister, or my friend.
yeah. I'm telling you, like I like seeing her friends. I really was thinking it could have been one of my friends. There's a variety
Yeah.
of reasons why it couldn't have been me, but I probably
Valerie.
wouldn't have been jogging. But anyway,
I know, right?
I was truly thinking it could have been one of my friends. When I saw it was like the video of them reading
Yeah.
the verdict, and then like if I keep talking about it, I'm gonna cry.
Oh
Like
my God.
it
I know, me
just
too.
it's just such a sad, tragic moment. But like you said, like this is something for us to come together. This is something for us. I like what you said too, like looking out for each other. I mean, it would not have been beneficial in this instance because,
Yeah.
there was no one else out there. But just in general, like at the gas station, just making sure that we are looking out for each other. I've told the story before. I'll tell it again. There was one time
Or
in
like being
college.
just, yeah, realizing, hey, like how can I be more safe, Because there's times where I'm like, I'm on my phone
Yes.
and I'm looking down, and it just takes 2 seconds for people to do like their heinous crimes, girl.
Yeah. And I've told this before and I'll share it again. Like in college, my I had gone out with two of my male friends, and it was two of my male friends and me, and we had gone out on such a fun night. We were walking home, and a girl walked up
Yeah.
to me, and she was like, "Hey, you okay?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." And she was like, "You don't have to go with them." And I was like, "Oh no, these are my friends." She's like, "It's okay, you can come with us." And I was like, "Oh no, these are my friends." And like, we were as I walked over, we were when she went back with her friends and like gave them a thumbs up. We were walking back and I was laughing, but then I was like, you know what, that's good. Like, she wasn't sure what was going on here, and she came up to make sure I was okay. And I just really like, I think about that. I hope she's having a great day wherever she is. But I think about that, like tiny moments like that.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure she was probably like uncomfortable. I could tell one of her friends was like, "Don't do that." But like,
Yeah.
like, what if I was in trouble? Like, what if something was? So like, just being brave and like looking out for each other, I think is just another thing that we can do.
Yeah.
Once again, that not necessarily wouldn't have been helpful for this situation particularly, but I think in so many other situations, like you said, looking down on your phone, there's so many things that we can do.
For sure, for sure. I'm even considering like getting a dog. 'Cause I'm like, if you're gonna go on a walk or something, having your dog, protect
Yeah.
you and stuff. I've seen videos where girls are like, just walking through my neighborhood, and they have like two big like pit bulls strapped to their waist. I'm like, okay, go off, queen. Like
Okay.
knocking around. Yeah.
All right. Well, I
Oh my
guess
god.
whatever it takes. Um, I want to read something. We'll end it. I don't want to spend too much time
Yeah,
on
for
this.
sure.
And I want to read this thing that I've seen going around about Laken. Laken's stepdad, he read her journal entry in court, and
Oh
this is what it
yeah.
says. And I think this probably sums up who she was. To my future husband, I want you to know that I'm thinking about you. I'm working every day to become the best wife I can be. I'm working through my current relationships to best prepare for ours and our kids one day. I'm focusing on God and what He defines as a faithful Christian life so I can best embody those characteristics. I pray that you know it is my full faith and trust in God that I know this relationship has been crafted by Him. I pray that we continue to glorify the Lord, prioritize Him in every aspect of our lives, and raise our family, our future family, and to be God fearing Christians as well. I pray God is at the center of our relationship as it is a gift from Him. I thank Him for you before I even know you and can't wait to love you in the best way I know how for the rest of our lives. I pray you know and feel the importance of my love and hopes for our relationship. No matter what challenges we face, I pray that our trust in God and love for one another overrules the obstacle. May our relationship last forever. Your future wife, Laken.
So sweet.
So, yeah, I think that probably sums up who she was as a person, and like, um, yeah, I just think it's
That's
important for us to remember and
that's
honor
beautiful.
that, and you know, yeah,
Oh goodness. May she rest in peace.
yes. Okay, so switching gears before I start crying
Oh.
to something else that might actually make you cry as well. Maybe not cry, but like it's upsetting. The 4B movement. So I kind of want to discuss that. It went popular, like, or viral. Like a lot of people talked about it last week, but whatever. This episode's coming out this week.
Yeah.
And it really went viral because of um Trump's win. And we've talked about this
Yeah.
last episode when we like did a recap of the election stuff. A lot of people have kind of gone off the rails, and they're upset, and I think they don't really know why they're upset, type of one of those type of situations. Anyway, so this thing called the 4B movement is really going around. So let me give you a quick summary of like what the 4B movement, or what they want to do the 4B movement to be in the US. So it's this tweet that says, "Ladies, we should start considering the 4B movement with like the women in South Korea and give America a severely sharp birth rate decline." So this will be 4 things you wouldn't do. You do no marriage, no childbirth, no dating men, and no sex with men. And then she says, "We can't let the men have the last laugh. We need to fight back." Really quick before I go to the next thing, what I just don't understand, and I think maybe it's just because of like my personality, I don't understand how like people are jumping to the conclusion that just because someone voted a specific way that they want women to be hurt. Like I just don't
Yeah.
see. I think there could be a mirror like that. I think there could just be a myriad of reasons why someone voted for Trump. not just because they want to see women hurt. So I just
Right.
don't understand how you can just like automatically say that. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's just
I think it's childish because like it's like when you no, it's like literally childish when you're like a kid and you fight and you're like, oh, like you doing something purposeful because you want to hurt that other person, you know. It's just like something a child would say out of anger. You just say you
yeah,
don't say the smartest things.
yeah. No,
It
that's
doesn't
a
make like it doesn't make sense, you know.
yeah, that's a good
Kids
point.
point fingers. It's hard to look it's hard to have that like self-awareness, you know?
Yeah,
To be
that's
like,
such a valid point.
well, you know, be introspective or whatever.
Yeah. And then so let me tell you really what this article is saying.
Hmm.
This article from CNN. It says after Trump's win, some women are considering the 4B movement in the hours and days since he became the re-elected president. There's been a surge. Young liberal women across TikTok and Instagram are discussing and sharing information about the South Korean feminist movement in which straight women refuse to marry, have children, date, or have sex with men. These women say that they are enraged and fed up with the majority of their male counterparts, voted for a candidate who was found liable for sexual abuse and whose appointments of the three conservative Supreme Court justices led to the overturning of the national abortion right protections. In response, they say that they're swearing off men and they're encouraging others around the country to join them. Okay, so um, yeah. So that is like what is happening in the US. So let me tell you what the 4B movement is and why it arose in South Korea. Okay.
Oh,
So
yes. Hmm.
4B is shorthand for the four Korean words Baihon, Baishushlan, Bayone, and Baiseku, which translate to no marriage, no childbirth, no dating, and no sex with men. I butchered those words and I apologize. The 4B movement emerged in South Korea around 2015 or 2016 per Judy Han, an assistant professor in gender studies in Los Angeles. Most popular among young women in their 20s, she described it as a fringe offshoot of Me Too and other feminist movements. Now listen to this. In 2016, a woman was brutally killed near her Seoul subway station. The perpetrator reportedly said he killed her because he felt ignored by women. The incident prompted a national reckoning around how women are treated in the country, expanding to include conversations around femicide, revenge porn, and digital sex crimes. Feminism and gender divide have been hot button issues in South Korea. Women in the country are paid one-third less than men, according to the data. And despite being one of the most advanced economies, women there are scarcely represented in senior managerial roles. The 4B movement was decentralized and existed in various iterations offline. Yeah, that's essentially it. But the reason why I'm saying that, the reason why I kind of want to bring that up is like there seems to be like real issues in
South Korea.
South Korea that have brought about this 4B movement, and I just don't see those type of real issues happening here in the U.S. Now, I'm not
Mhm.
minimizing rape and sexual assault that happens in the U.S. I'm not minimizing that at all. But I don't think that is ingrained. And I think that's going to be the difference between me and a lot of feminists. I don't think that's like a systematic ingrained issue in
Mhm.
the US. Does it happen? Absolutely. Is it evil and wrong? For sure. But I don't think it is like ingrained a systematic issue. Do you get what I'm trying to
Mhm.
say? Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
happens, but I don't think it's like part of the fabric of the US.
I think it's more cultural than it is, you know, because it's you know we're as a culture that's what they say to change minds and hearts you need to change the culture and
Yeah.
the culture starts in the family because you're that's what you like your family is a lot of the reasons why you are the way you are and creating boundaries and you know teaching right from wrong and all that stuff so I think it would be more of a cultural sin that we have to fix versus you know systemic.
I think that's a good point. I think you're right because I do think that we have a culture that is hurting because of pornography, which I can go on and on about
You
that.
know, we
Um,
raise a better generation. We raise sons and daughters, you know, to become and do better. Then I think that's when things like start changing for
Yeah,
sure.
I think so too. So I don't think this 4B movement, and I also don't know how it's going to hurt because I am very much pro people not having sex if they're married. If they're not married,
I mean,
well,
as a
please have
Christian
sex if you're
conservative, you're
married.
like, this
Yeah,
is actually a really good, a
yeah,
really
this
good
doesn't
thing.
sound bad to me.
But
Like
it,
I'm
it,
pro
yeah,
this.
it's not depriving when you think about it because it's all the things you shouldn't like be doing anyways. But yeah, I think it was crazy because there was a lot of TikTok like remakes and stitches, and it was interesting because like a lot of like the more obviously like Christian conservative women were like, or even just honestly women who lean more right, they were saying like, oh well, it's crazy to think like if you guys think this is like oppression, like you would not even last a day like overseas on these like some of
Hmm.
these third world countries. And I think sometimes with like, yeah, of course there's privilege. All of us are privileged to be Americans, to live in the United States of America. And obviously we're not a perfect country, and not saying that we don't have our own issues and our own flaws, but we are definitely some of the most privileged, people to be American citizens. So I think sometimes we take that for granted. And it's like, how privileged are we to be on our phones, in our safe homes, looking at social media? Because in other countries, you can't even watch certain things. Like you can't
Hmm.
just go to like my boyfriend, he's from Iran, so he's Persian. He's like, you can't even sit there. We were laughing because not laughing, but we were like saying like, oh my God, all these people, we get to have videos and criticize political leaders. Like in other countries, if you even say like, "Oh, my president is horrible," or "My president," you're gone. Like you're gonna disappear.
Yeah,
Do you know you have 30 minutes?
yeah,
Like seriously, like you would get so that just does not happen in other countries. You don't get to burn the flag that you where you live. You don't get to talk about the politicians. You don't get to watch certain TV shows. Women have to cover their heads. Like you don't even have any rights. You don't even have the right to your own like nothing. There's daughter, and even right now in these like in real time there are women. I forgot what country it was. I don't want to talk out of my head, but I think there's a country right now where it's getting legalized that you can basically become women, like little girls can become child brides at like
yes, I
9 years
saw
old.
that. Yeah,
At 9 years old. 9 years old. And then we're sitting here thinking that we're somehow oppressed because we have every right to literally everything. It's just crazy to me. I'm like, when you think about that, I'm like, that is crazy. We are so privileged, and it's like we have
yeah,
every right. We can own a car. We can go to school. We can talk about politicians. We can literally do whatever we want. So to
yeah.
say that we're so oppressed and like we are just so like blah blah blah, I think it's a disservice to women literally around the world who are fighting for their literally right to live.
Exist and live
Yeah,
and not have to be married at 9 years old. Yeah.
exactly.
No, you're right. And I think sometimes just putting things in perspective and it's not to dismiss, like, sure, things are tough, like,
Yeah,
times can be tough. And I mean, we just discussed Laken Reilly, like what happened to her, awful. I don't think this is not to dismiss them, but this is not the overall, like, it's not what the
yeah,
US is. I think that's the part that's always just so baffling to me, is when people are having these conversations and when they're acting this way. It just seems to be so baffling because it's like, yes, these things are happening and there's people here
yeah,
and there doing that, but that's not the whole, like, not the whole thing. And like, I think also putting things in perspective and remembering, like,
yeah.
every single man out there is not going to hurt you. Every single man out there does not want to, rape and murder you. Like, that's
Right.
unfortunately, there are men like that. Like, don't,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean, walk up to strangers,
And I think, yeah,
naked
and
and
I
be
think you're
like,
right.
do whatever. But like, it just means that, like, um, using wisdom, but like, you don't have to be afraid of every single man, because that's my concern too about the next step of all of this, is that is the fear of man, like of men in general.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I also think it's also just the enemy schemes. Like when you think about everything, it's more of a spiritual than it is like on earth side, whatever. Because it's
Physical,
like,
yeah.
well, it's always like, what does the enemy want to steal, to kill, to
Kill and
destroy.
destroy.
You know, if he can do those things, if he can distract us, if he can kill our offspring, if he can, you know, not even him, us doing it, right? Mothers.
Right?
It's like if
Against
he can
us.
do that, if he can cause so much division and destruction and lies and confusion, that's where he wants us because we will be weak, we will be fearful. And it's like, you know, when you look at if you spend all day, and even as a Christian conservative, right? If anybody, just if you spend a whole day listening to news outlets after news outlets after news outlets, you're going to freaking lose your mind. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, this world is so broken. And how can I even go about my day when all of these things are happening? But it's like, that is not our burden to carry. There are just some things that are just not ours to carry. And it's like when we, like that's why honestly, like those videos where the women are crying and all that stuff, like honestly, part of me feels really sad for them because I'm like,
A
I
hundred
just feel
percent.
bad that they have so much fear in their hearts and their minds, and I don't think God wants us to live like that. I don't for anyone, even if you don't believe in Him. Like I just don't think that that's the kind of God we serve. Like that He wants us to be in fear. But if you do listen to to you know social media and the news outlets and your friends who all think the same, you're going to probably end up worse than better off. Sometimes it's better off to
Yeah.
just so you have to be very careful for what you're consuming and what you're listening to. And like this also applies to me. So sometimes you could just sit and scroll and you're just like it's like doomsday. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like,
That's
what is the
so
point?
true.
Life is not worth living.
No, you're so right. Because that also,
Preach.
because if you were on social media this week, the two things you were consumed with: the Laken Reilly trial,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you saw it, but another thing I have seen so many videos about is that lady the trophy wife lady. Have you
I'm
seen?
sure life.
Okay, this lady had this YouTube channel, and it was
What?
called like
I
the
gotta
new
sit in my
trophy
coffee for
wife.
this. The
Yeah,
who?
the new it was called the new trophy wife. And she would come
Oh,
on talk about how she's a trophy wife. I'm surprised you haven't seen this yet. She would come on about how she's this new trophy wife, and she
not new
found
trophy
out,
wife.
trigger warning, she found out that her husband, trigger warning, was assaulting their children, two of their daughters. And she did all this bragging about how she got a man, and how she's a trophy wife, and he pays for this, he does all this stuff for her. And he was sexually assaulting their daughters. And let me tell you, like, if you just sit online and scroll, I can see how
That
you can
is
hate
like
men.
that
That,
is
like, I've seen
wild.
so many videos. I've had to like stop, like keep scrolling.
And then
Like
the worst part
it's
about the algorithm is once you start liking a video or watching
a
it, it
hundred
just
percent.
like in droves it gives you all those videos. I'm like,
And
okay, chill.
I've seen so many like commentaries about it. So
Yeah.
she like
Oh
because
yeah, the
she's
comments get to me. I'm over here sitting and reading all the
yeah
comments. I'm
yeah,
like, I need to
and a lot of
stop.
people have tons of opinions on it, and like
Yeah.
I have I'll,
You
whatever,
don't
we can
know.
talk about it. I have an opinion I have really quick that I want to get out about it.
Is this
Like,
our last story, by the way? Or you have
yeah,
one
this
more?
will be the last story.
Oh,
Unless
okay.
do you want to talk about this, or you want to talk about
One second,
our
early.
Wicked? Okay. Um. Well, while she's on it, let me just give you my quick opinion on what's going on with that. Like, I think it's crazy that she posted her child's story like that. I think that's so inappropriate.
Sorry about.
And then, oh no, you're good. I think it's just crazy she posted her child's story like that. That's
Yeah.
just like really inappropriate.
Oh my
And
God, that's
anyway,
crazy.
yeah. Would you prefer to talk about this or Wicked? You want to talk about Wicked?
This because I also have another
Okay.
influencer story that I saw on TikTok.
Okay.
It was about the girl who was shoplifting at Target. Did you hear that?
Okay, I saw it, but I didn't finish it. So you wait, let me finish this, and then you tell me about
I'm
that.
sorry. It's just that the influencer people. I mean, TikTok is like, I swear,
No,
they don't miss
that's
a
good.
beat.
We can end on like a lighter note. So I just think it's crazy that she posted that, and then like
They
it's
literally had her
just
mugshot. Like, and the Target surveillance camera or whatever, someone posted it, and
yeah,
I was like, oh, that's crazy.
that's crazy.
But I don't, honestly, part of me is like, I don't know. I think like it's so easy to get caught up in this like social media stuff, especially as an influencer. Like, and I could tell you, like,
Hmm.
if you sell
Wait,
clothes, if
so
you,
tell me the full
oh wait,
story. Sorry. Start from the beginning. Tell me
well,
the full story.
I mean, I don't really know the whole story. I just know bits and pieces because I just saw this like not too long ago. But
Okay.
allegedly, it was this big influencer. I don't know how many followers she has, but she would post, I guess, TikToks of Target hauls, and allegedly, right, or whatever. Because I don't follow this person. I've never seen her videos, but apparently, I
Okay.
think that's what she focuses on, and she got caught shoplifting. So yeah,
Okay, so her Target
basically,
haul, so her Target hauls are what she's known for, and she got caught
yeah, she got.
shoplifting at Target.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yikes.
That's the way I
Yikes.
summarize it because that's the only thing I know. But I don't know if there's more to the story. But if you go on TikTok, I'm sure it'll come up. But I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like,
That's
I
crazy.
feel,
That's
but that's what I'm saying. I
embarrassing.
feel like it's hard to keep up with like a certain lifestyle without getting
Hmm.
caught or without like falling into some like issues because if you're, that's how people get in trouble. Oh, did you hear about the
Hmm.
pajama gate?
No, I
What do
don't
you?
know
Oh,
about our
girl.
algorithms are so different. Okay, what's going on with pajama? Our
I
algorithms are so different.
Oh my God. So I think I think some the people who are listening, the girlies, I am pretty sure you guys have to help me here in the comments, like about the pajama gate. It was like this whole thing, Mel, where essentially these two influencers, I think they're like on Mom Talk or something. Okay, I don't know their Mom Talk, but they're these big influencers and they were selling these pajamas for $98. Now, is there a market for these? Yes. Unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately. Fortunately, there's people that can afford $98 pajamas. But the whole thing was that there was another TikTok girl that was going to place an order for these pajamas to make a review, and that girl does have a big following, and I forgot her name, so I'm not even gonna try to put out names out there. So she was like, I'm gonna place an order so I can do like a haul about these pajamas and like let you guys know if it's worth it or not. So the owner, it gets messy. You have to like literally go after this episode, go on
Okay.
TikTok, so we can explain it better because I'm the worst explainer. And so the girl, the owner, one of the owners, she messaged that girl on TikTok and was like, "We canceled your order because we think it's because of different like basically saying like we just don't want you to be writing reviews about us. Like, this is not blah, 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 blah." And the girl was like, what the heck? So the other girl brought receipts and she made a TikTok. She was like, this is the message that I received from the owner saying that they canceled my order because they didn't want me to leave a bad review. Essentially, that was the message on the screen. And so it was this whole big thing. People were like, whose side are we taking? Blah, blah, blah. And then these girls, the owners, they just kept, it was her and her sister-in-law, I believe. They just kept digging themselves a hole. Like every time, like celebrities will come up and be like, we are so sorry that blah, blah, blah. It came off as like
Yeah.
very tone deaf. They're like, if they just need to stop. They're like, they've got the people in the audience, like the comments, they were like, these girls, like, they just need to stop talking because they're digging themselves a hole. Clearly,
Yeah.
like there comes a lot. Obviously, it's not easy to run a small business, but I think it's like also being professional in your brand. And it was just like they were just sticking themselves in a bigger and bigger hole. And it was like the video response to them saying, "Hey, we're sorry for these $98 pajamas, blah blah blah. We realize some people can't afford it." It was basically saying like, "So sorry that we're rich and you're poor and you can't afford a pajama." And then I can't believe I'm so invested. Sorry, that was my dad. I can't believe we were so
Okay.
invested in these 90. You're like, are we? Like, I
I
can't
was
believe
like,
we were so.
oh, okay, there's
No, I
someone
told
else
my dad, I was
there.
like, be quiet. We're filming an episode. Oh my God, my poor dad. But yeah, it was, you have to see that. Basically, that was
Okay,
the thing of the
yeah.
pajama, and now it's a pajama gate. And they're like, why are these $98 pajamas? And everyone's like, pretty much like crapping on the ladies that made these pajamas. Not really because of the pajamas itself, but because of how they went about representing their company and their brand.
Yeah.
And I think it is definitely worth disgusting for sure. They were
Okay, so you thought it
disgusting.
was disgusting? Okay, okay.
But look it up, seriously.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. But I have like a lot of thoughts because I'm just like, well, people can't afford $90. Like, I'm not gonna trip because I can't afford it. I'm like, do I wish I could
Yeah.
afford it? Sure, but like, oh, I also wouldn't even if it. I
Yeah,
personally
I
would not
don't
invest in $98 pajamas.
no, that's not for me. That's not something I'd put money into. I think so as a business owner,
No, seriously,
um
yeah,
as a business owner and an influencer. No.
right. Period.
Kind of sorta,
No, seriously, as a small
I
business owner.
Yeah, I think like two things. First of all, why on earth would you tell her like because you don't want her to review? Because my first
Right.
thought is she's going to screenshot and post it, especially if she has a
Right.
bigger following. You dummies.
Yeah.
And then secondly is like stand by your price. Now I do think $98 is ridiculous for
Right.
pajamas, but that's just because like I can't afford it. Now if I was filthy rich and there are pajamas that are like a special silk fabric and they're like super
Yeah.
pink and like I had a photo shooting plan for them. I don't know. Like if I needed them for some
Yeah.
sure, maybe. But like
Yeah.
I think you need to stand like that's something that they teach you and like I'm in a couple
You
like
definitely should put a little tag on your thing, by the
entrepreneur
way.
stuff.
Put whatever topics we talk about, and then like pajama gate. Trust me, people will know what we're talking about.
Okay, yes.
Sorry, off topic.
Pink pajama. I'll remember that. And those things they always talk about like pick a price, stick with it, and like stand by it. So I think
Right.
it's weird that they're not gonna like just stand by it.
Yeah.
Now, once again, my thing is, so this is something else I realized, but
Yeah.
you got to make sure you have the niche for that. Like
Exactly.
people,
I just
so it
don't
sounds
think
like
they
people in
went
her
about it the
niche
right
don't
way.
have that. Yeah.
I don't. I think they're trying to take stick spaghetti. Now, granted, I've never opened up a small business or when it comes to clothing and all of that, right? I think, and that's why I haven't done it because I think it needs authenticity, and I think that's why they were
Mm-hmm.
missing, and that's why I think the whole thing exploded. It wasn't even the $98 pajamas. It wasn't even who they were. I just think they didn't translate that to their audience, and the second they got a little bit of backlash, they were like freaking out. And as a
Yeah.
business owner, like, why would you be DMing someone that could possibly be reviewing your product, like, and telling them,
Exactly.
hey, no, we're canceling your order? Like, they literally canceled this girl's order.
That's
So I think that's
crazy.
why she was like, what the heck? And it just opened up a big can of worms. And like you said, it's not about the 98. It's not, they just have to find their niche and that audience
Mm-hmm.
and cater to that audience because they were trying to cater to everyone. And I also think that's why it
And you
didn't
can't
work
do
because
that.
you're trying to
Yeah.
please the girls that says they can't afford it. And it's like, that is obviously it's unfortunate. Hello, I'm one of those girls. I can't afford the
Right.
$98 pajamas, but I'm gonna take myself to Target, and buy $25 pajamas.
Yeah.
So it's like you just have to, like you said, you have to stick to you have to know your audience, and
Mm-hmm.
when you're launching a product, you have to know it's for this particular customer. And
Yeah.
and also you can't just be going left and right canceling people's orders and messaging them. And that's why I'm
Yeah.
saying, and even when they tried to make the apology video, it didn't seem sincere. And people like Candace Owens talks about, she's like, we're living in a world of authenticity now. People are wanting
Mm-hmm.
people, we the people have so much buying power when it comes to like where we're gonna shop, where we're gonna go out to eat, everything. So that's why, and as a social media content creator, we like the brands that I partner with, I want to make sure that they know me and I know them, so it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
come all inauthentic. Like I've had freaking so many different requests. Like people are like, can you share our camping gear? Absolutely not. I am not a camping girl. I am not an outdoorsy girl. That would not be authentic to my
It's
brand, you
so
know?
funny. Yeah. No, you're
I'm like,
so right. Like,
yeah. Sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was saying sometimes you have to know when to shut up and when to say no. And I
Yeah.
think including to your customers. It's like if people were like, Mel, I really like, your eyebrows. And it's like, now you want to roll out an eyebrow thing, which you can, but it's like, you have to make sure
No.
it's, and you have to like test it. And now granted, things always don't go the perfect way, but it's about how you own up to it and how you move forward. And like I said, I don't
Yeah.
think they took those criticisms and made it better. It just, they were digging
Yeah.
themselves a hole. So
And
anyways.
I'm a big fan of like one apology and done. Don't go back and forth. Like I don't like one apology. If you
Yeah.
truly did something wrong, one apology. I'm also a big fan of like I'm gonna stand by what I said. Like I said X, Y, and Z. Like
Right. And
and
if you
then
really
moving
made it,
on. But the thing is, you got to move on because when you keep bringing it up, this is something you learn in your friendships too. When you keep bringing something up, then everybody's gonna keep talking about it. If they had just apologized once, if they truly
yeah.
felt sorry, if it was authentic to them and they really apologized, they apologized once and then just stop talking about it. I
Yeah.
personally think that's like the best way to move forward in situations like this. And another thing, really quick, a lot of
Yeah.
influencers do brands. Like that's just like a very popular thing
Yeah.
that people do. The difference between a success from what I have seen and from like
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of entrepreneur podcasts, especially because I
Same,
really
same.
want my jewelry store to like I need this thing to like take off. So one thing
Uh,
buy shopthePinkRose.com. One thing that I've seen and I've learned is like a lot of
yeah.
influencers they have their brand, but like the ones that last are the ones that's authentic. Their brand is
Mhm.
authentic to like who they are. So like you're right about the eyebrow. I have got my eyebrows done maybe 3 times in my life. If I came out with an eyebrow something, it'd be like, wait, what?
Or
Why
if you
is she
came
doing an
out selling
eyebrow?
underwear, like I'd be like, Mallory,
Right,
what are you doing?
right. If I started, good example. If I started selling like thongs, like what on
You'll
earth
be
is she
like,
doing?
this doesn't, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mesh. So like no one, your audience does not care.
And yeah, that's another thing. It's like that's why one of the girls, she did a really one of the ladies, she's like a social media content creator, like coach or something like that. And she was basically saying like this is how not to go about things. She basically used them as an example. And she's like, this is another reason why, it's not, like I said, it's not really the price, because you mean you've seen those like ugly shoes that look worn, people buy them. You've seen the freaking jeans with the holes, that are
Yeah,
Lululemon, freaking
yeah,
$100 for like yoga pants. So it's not the price, it's just how you are authentic with your brand. And people can pick up on like not when you're not authentic. So I think
yeah.
that's the big thing that as small business owners and people that are creating brands, like we need to be aware of that before trying to like launch a project, not project, a brand. But
And a
yeah, you're so right.
product.
I
Yeah.
think like the Danny Austins, the Champagne Chanels, all those ladies, they've been able to, honestly, it's pretty impressive. They've been able to build off of their, social media platform and turn into
Hmm.
$1 million deals and brands. And I'm like, wow, that's taking notes, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and
And it takes time. And it takes time too. I think
it
maybe
does.
they're just expecting, oh, because I have 1 million followers, all of a sudden I'm going to have a successful brand, and
Yeah.
that's not really the case.
And to wrap it up, one person who I am like obsessed with is Pia Nance,
Hmm.
Pia Nance. She does Heaven Mayhem earrings. And she also does watches and a bunch of other like leather products. Like she does accessories essentially. I
Yeah.
really like her and her brand. And like I, as an influencer, it just felt so seamless how everything came in. Like
Tied. Yeah.
how
Yeah.
everything
And
tied
that's
together.
yeah, and I have one last thing to say. Yeah, I think that's great to piggyback. Is like the story and the why. And they had talked about their story. It was like, oh, like growing up, having pajamas with my family around the Christmas tree or whatever I think it was. It was like, oh, my family is together, and pajamas were like. Matching pajamas were like a thing, which is cool and everything, but it's also like, okay, you gotta elaborate more. Like you have to.
Yeah.
It's not just, hey, me and my family were having we wore pajamas. Here are your pajamas for $98. It's like, what? The last thing I'll say is, I feel like I'm an expert. I've never even launched a brand, but these are just my little takes. The last thing they were like, man, TikTok's petty, because after the whole pajama thing, it was like $98. It would come out. There would be ads for like pajama sets for $25. Like that's so funny. Like TikTok was
That's
being
so
petty.
funny. TikTok
It was
is
like
petty.
you would be watching these TikTok videos of the pajama people, pajama gate, and the next thing you know, they're like, these are the comfiest pajamas for $25. And then the comment sections are like, man, TikTok stays being petty.
That's funny. That is funny. And that is a good thing to end it on.
But
Thank you guys so much for
I'm like,
listening. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a comment, let us know. Let us know, have you like, what is your TikTok feed? Because it sounds like me and Isabel's are kind of different. But I like funny things. Like there's other funny things, but like I feel like the discourse I have is anyway. You guys let me know like
me
what's
starts.
on your TikTok.
I know I'm like starts launching in a pajama line after this podcast.
And then also tell us about the 4B movement. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that'll be successful in the US? Do you think that we need that in the US? Let me know. Anything else, Isabel, you want to add? Anything?
No, just if you're not following me on Instagram,
Yeah, follow
follow me on
Isabel on
Instagram.
Instagram.
Even though I'm going through like a not shooting content hiatus, but I'll be back. I promise. I promise. I'm trying to
Fabulous.
turn into more like corporate content, because that's basically what I do now. It's just
Yeah.
24/7.
That's so
So
funny. I'm thinking of
yeah,
like I think I'm gonna shift a little bit more like on my personal like corporate like
yeah.
girly stuff in your 30s, your corporate job.
I think
That's
you should
what I'm
definitely do
thinking.
that. Especially you should
Yeah.
just do the business owner by night, corporate
Yeah.
girly by day, because that's literally what you do. And I
No,
see the
literally.
vlogs, and there's this guy making a whole series of how he lives in his car. And I was
You
watching it like
guys,
religiously. I was like, this is so fun. I'm like eating my popcorn.
I I want
Just
to do vlogs. I do. I for the life of me, like I just it's I need to just do it. I
I
want to do
know.
vlogs. I do, because I think vlogs are good. Some of them,
And you know what? Maybe start with TikTok, just like everyday posts, because I
yeah.
think TikTok's a great this other anyways, I think we need to get off camera,
Yeah.
but
Sorry. I have things I got to do too today. Okay. Love you guys.
bye
Have a good day,
guys.
night, evening, however, wherever you're listening. Bye.
Bye.